All right, so this is the first, I guess, official episode of our podcast, Super Battle Buddies. You may have seen us playing games once upon a time, forever ago. We've been kind of on hiatus just because life gets in the way. Personally, I work about like 50 hours a week, working on generators and everything, and then also balancing that with having a girlfriend and trying to find time to do any of this. So we figured we would try to do a podcast, just to bullshit talk and do what everybody else does. We made a fucking podcast, so it's
Yeah. I mean,
it's
fuck it.
normal.
Follow the fuck conformist.
Yeah,
Fuck.
but
uh,
I know you've had a lot going on with your life.
yeah. Just like him, it's been a lot here lately. So for the past 2 years, you know this. I've been dealing with you know, getting medicaled out. About 2 years ago, I hurt my back. I'm in the military too, you know, so I hurt my back. Prepping for PT. This is a shit way. It's fun. No, I didn't. I didn't get any fucking shrapnel or anything. I was fucking working out, you know, prepping for our new PT test, and
Messed your
fucking
back up.
slipped a disc. Huh?
I said messed your back up.
Yeah, fucked it up, and then I had surgery. I had disc fusion surgery, and I'm still experiencing problems. So the military has not seen me fit anymore. So I've been dealing with that, going to VA appointments and physical therapy and all kinds of crap. Um, and you know, I'm still working through the military till I get out. You know, that's one thing too. So I still have my full time job, and I got a family. You know, I got 2 kids and a wife, and I got to meet their needs as well. You know, get some family time in. Everybody needs to get family time in. So it's
Oh
been really busy. I've just been chilling when I've on my downtime and just playing video games. You know, with you,
yeah.
and so what, and so on and so forth. But other than that, yeah, it's been pretty hectic. I finished my last VA appointment, and I'm just waiting on the VA to give me a call and give me my percentages and tell me like you're gonna get this much, and then I'll be out at some point.
Yeah, they were kind of all
So
over the place with that when you first told me about it. I mean, dealing with like the civilians that work for the military, it's not like they
yeah,
are completely up to date with everything that's going on. I remember you telling me that one person you talked to didn't even seem like you read like that you had a line of duty sign that you got hurt and was
yeah.
just
I
kind
did
of
have an
like,
approved LOD, and all his job was to push the paperwork up, you know, and he was like scaring the crap out of me. I'm not gonna mention any names or anything like that, but it did scare the mess out of me, and I was freaking out, and it had my wife freaking out, like, oh my god, how are we gonna, you know, provide for our family, you know, because today's economy, you know,
yeah,
is in the shit can at the moment. So uh, I was just like, I got to find out. I got to find out more details, you know. And I ended up once my paperwork got pushed up to Fort Johnson, I ended up like being finding out the correct information, you know, because
yeah,
those people that do it 24/7 down there, dealing with soldiers every day, getting out processed medically, whether it's on a PEB or MEB. And by the way, for the folks out there, MEB stands for Medical Evaluation Board, and PEB I think stands for Physical Evaluation Board. And it's just a way for the military to go through the VA, the Veterans Affairs, to figure out if you're still fit for duty or not. And so I've just been deemed not just on the status of my back, but I got a lot more of a warm and fuzzy um, when I started talking to them. So
yeah.
it's kind of a nightmare, and it's one of those things where being in the military, when you start going through the process, you're like a mushroom being fed shit in the dark, you know, because
That's a great
uh,
way to put it.
yeah, you just don't fucking know. You don't know until you go through it, and a lot of people have speculations, and you hear all these rumors. And you're like, man, I don't have I can I don't qualify for what you're talking about because it didn't happen to me that way. And then you find out it's really not that way at all. So
That's like one of the things that I noticed. Like once you start getting out of the military and everything, even when I was in active duty and I was out processing, you have to go to all these different buildings on post and get them
yeah,
to sign off, basically saying like you came to our facility, we cleared you, you don't owe anything, you never took anything from this facility that we need
right.
to track down. Most of the places I had never fucking been to before. So I'm like coming in here and I'm seeing like places where you could like get training equipment for ranges and stuff like that, where it was like the dummy bodies with like the fake wounds and all that stuff. And I was like,
Yeah,
do you know how much fun it would be to just take some of those, put them in random Humvees, like sitting in our motor pool, and just have guys on guard duty see that
yeah,
shit and be like, why is there a fucking dude with a sucking chest wound sitting in a Humvee in the middle of the night? And then just have that go back. But it's just like, I don't think that the military got to that point where it was like, hey, these are the kind of things that you need to know just in case it ever happens to you. It was like, hey, you need to sign what you're when you die, inevitably, because we
yeah,
aren't going to keep you safe. This is where your money's going to go, and this is where all your emergency contact information is. But they do that
yeah.
like every 3 months. So it's like, okay, what if my leg gets chopped off? How am I going to get paid for that? Like, are you going to come
Exactly.
and tell me how to do it? They just
Yeah,
don't care. And
yeah.
it gets insane.
And essentially, that's how they look at it when you go through the medical board process. Is it's one way it was explained to me is like, do you think your commander cares if you're hurt? And there was me and one other National Guard guy there, and I didn't know if he was AGR. I didn't know if he was like full time staff, but everybody else was active duty. And me and the active duty AGR, the other National Guard guy, we were like, no. And everybody else was like, yeah, 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 but he would care. The guy was like, well, they're kind of right. He may empathize, with the fact that you're hurt. Like, oh, he's in pain. He's going through some shit.
Yeah.
Um, but he's not going to have sympathy. His main goal as a commander is to make sure you're going to be able to accomplish the job.
Yeah.
Finish the mission. And if you're not fit for that, then boom, you need to get out. That's just how it is. And it's not like a normal job. It's way different than getting hurt in a civilian job and then going through workman's comp. Which I've been through that on the civilian side too, and that is just a shitty position to be in because it has its own little quirks too. But other than
Because
that,
like every other company, like whether you're dealing with insurance or anything like that, they're doing everything they can do to
yeah,
not pay you versus
yeah,
like actually take care of you, make you think like if you get hurt on the job, hey man, don't worry about it. You're gonna have money for your wife and kids. It's pretty much just like you shouldn't have got fucking hurt. Like
yeah, yeah,
fuck you, you're a piece of shit. We're not gonna give you
yeah.
money, and
That's
it's
one.
just
That's one.
ridiculous.
That's one thing I'll add to is that's what's good about the VA. I'm not on the other side of the fence completely yet, but they have been nothing but helpful, and they want to make sure that you get what you're supposed to get. And they can only base it off the law.
Yeah,
And that's as far as it goes. They're not just gonna throw you to the streets. And I understand there's a lot of veterans out there that are homeless because of some crappy stuff. And like I said, I'm not on the other side of the fence. I'm not trying to uh, negate that there has been some messed up stuff that have happened to veterans, but so far, from what I've experienced, uh, dealing with the VA, I have not ran into any of that yet
yeah.
whatsoever. So kudos to them, and I'm hoping that everything. I should be able to follow up with them next week on it. Like they told me I could call them to see if my results finally got sent in, because that's what I was told. Give it about next week because it takes a few days. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what else to say on that.
I got you. And just for further background on everything, we're gonna kind of steer away from that because it's always depressing talking about shit like that. But I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
we've talked at it at length and everything. the way that me and Screwed know each other is not from the military. We actually we grew up in the same area. Well, almost. He moved around a lot more than I did, but we went to high school together and everything. Hung out a little bit, and then like years later, we just happened to go to Walmart on the same day after like I had gone through the military, moved all around the country, came back, and finally like just was walking by. I was like, "Hey, don't I know you?" And then like
Yeah.
we're sitting there like, and then it's like we've been best friends almost slash husbands for the past like year or a
Yeah.
couple of years actually, and
Yeah. Yeah.
it all
What's even
snowballed from
crazier
there.
is you went to college with my mom.
Yeah,
Went through film school, and she was telling me about you. She's like, you know this guy. I was like, it sounds familiar, and then yeah, all was just out of nowhere we ran into each other.
yeah.
So it's been
So it snowballed from there. We're like, hey, you got a gaming PC and everything, and then we started making videos and stuff like that, and
yeah,
we were like, fuck it, let's try a podcast after talking about it for about almost a year now.
yeah. I would say probably about
Mul-
7.5 to 8 months, somewhere around. So yeah, I would say I
Yeah,
would call it a year. Just go ahead and round it
multiple
up.
multiple different iterations from it with like different people, and then it was finally time to just say, hey, let's just go ahead and do it. And what a better time to do it when there's so much stuff that has been happening lately. We
Oh
recently
yeah,
had like the presidential debates, like we had Dr. Disrespect going
yeah.
and doing what he did. And
Yeah, not to mention all the news about different movies and games, especially with TV shows, man. Like with this with Disney with Disney what they're doing. So
yeah. We all know about what Star Wars the Acolyte has been up to.
yeah,
It's super confusing. But one of the main things I wanted to cover was like the presidential debate because I mean, I didn't watch it. I know you did. I saw
hmm
like one clip from it,
yeah,
and I was like literally just sitting there like, what is going on here? And
yeah,
I'm gonna pull that up right now because it was just freaking hysterical.
uh,
Where like,
with the COVID, excuse me, with dealing with everything we have to do with. Look, if we finally
like
beat Medicare,
Thank you, President.
he just he couldn't get it out. I understand like he had a stutter back in the day and everything, but he just like that whole pause where it was just I think it was like right around here where you could literally hear the gears turning
yeah.
as he's
But
trying to get it out.
what's so funny is I actually came across a TikTok earlier today, and it was talking about 2012 because you know he went into a vice president debate. I
Yeah.
can't remember with who, but it was 2012 versus 2024, and it had this debate, and it had the debate from 2012 where he was talking with the Republican candidate VP. I can't remember his name, but he had much more bite. You know, he had more teeth and more grit to him, and he didn't stutter. I didn't really see a stutter at all, and he was on top of he was on top of his shit. You know, and um, I just don't
Spring.
know what happened. I mean what 2012 was that 10 plus years ago?
Yeah.
I'm not great at doing math in my head, but yeah, I mean he's obviously showing his age now.
That's
For
over
sure.
it's what like 14 or no, about 12 years since
Yeah,
the last
yeah.
time, but like
hmm
he did not inspire like confidence just like hearing him talk like that. And I mean, you see
No.
all the other videos where it looks like he's got that face of a like 2-year old that's actively shitting their pants,
Yeah.
and it's just like, dude, like you got Putin and Kim Jong Un fucking about to form the worst tag team in the history of the world,
Yeah.
and we got old Puddin Brain as a president, and he's just not like. I mean, it's not any better on the other side. Like all the stuff that Trump says, you're just like sitting there staring at him, like, oh God, this is where we are in our
Yeah.
country. Like, I
Yeah.
mean,
At one point, they actually argued about, you know, who was better at golf,
yeah,
and
I
it
did
was
remember seeing that where like he was talking about his handicap and everything, and it was just
yeah,
like, there's another clip. I can't remember what they're exactly talking about here. But it's just
Is this the one where Trump was like, I don't know what he said there, but I don't either? Is this that one?
it could be.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that.
Yeah.
I don't think he knows what he said either.
President Trump?
Yeah, we're like he basically and like some of the facial expressions you see from Biden in there when he's just like fucking staring,
Yeah.
like you're like he has no idea where he is, and he had 5 days to prepare for it. Like if you had
Yeah.
5 days to prepare for anything, like you had that's a more than enough time. Like you think of every possibility, what it could be. He couldn't answer one single question properly.
My main thought with all this is that, you know, they've been fighting for, you know, the Democratic, you know, party or the Biden administration has been fighting for him, you know, and saying,
Yeah.
no, he's 100% there, you know, he's doing great and so on and so forth. But my main concern is after seeing this, they all turned on him. They were like, oh no, I'm paraphrasing. I don't remember exactly what they said, but I'm paraphrasing. They basically was like, he does not need to be our candidate representative for the next election. And his family needs to be concerned and seek medical attention if it is something like Alzheimer's, or I'm not saying he's got Alzheimer's. I'm not trying to diagnose him, but you know, there's obviously something off there.
Yeah,
And they need to, like, this is a human being, and
just put him in a home. Like,
like he needs to be taken care of just from a personal, like, human perspective, you know, like just look on the outside looking in, you know. If this was one of my family members and I noticed these things, I would just be like, hey, we need to look into this, like what's going on with him. And they actually said that on the panel after the debate. They were just like,
yeah,
we need to pray for him because, you know, he is a person, you know. You can't take away from the fact that he still is a person. I don't wish ill harm on Biden.
I just don't think he should be running the country in that state. Like,
no. And that's go ahead.
I was like saying, like, doing my job, working on generators and stuff. Pretty much every nursing home or medical facility has a backup generator. So I see a lot of people who are in these facilities and everything. They're there for a reason. Like, they can't handle themselves. And he looks exactly like one. And on a side note, this is a really messed up story. But it was one time when I was going to a nursing home and everything, and I'm working on this generator. I had Subway for lunch. This is why I can no longer eat Subway for lunch anymore. I had to shit, like, really bad, like, to the point where I was like, it's where, like, it started on this floor and then it hit the bottom floor, and it's like, you need to go now because he needs to get out of the elevator. And I like ran around to the side of the building. All these places have like door codes that you got to put in. So I'm telling this lady, like, hey, can you let me in? I need to use the bathroom real bad. And so I go in, I split off to the hallway and everything, right where there's the bathroom. And I'm like booking it to the point where like I'm fast walking to get to the bathroom. And I could hear somebody on the way into the door. I think it was an older lady and everything. I felt so bad because I could hear, help me. And I was just like, I'm in no position to help anybody right now because I'm about to shit into my socks. Like, I gotta go. And I was like running into the bathroom, shut the door, and I could hear her like in a wheelchair coming down the highway. Please help me. And it was so messed up, but I was just like, I gotta go. Like, this is really bad.
Yeah.
But
that was the staff.
That's the thing. Like, and it pains me to no end. You walk into these places, the caregivers don't seem like they give a shit. They just look around. I mean, I don't think I've seen much of them actually working. I worked at one on Thursday, and they're just, I didn't see them doing anything just except for walking in and out of the same door.
Yeah.
And like from the outside,
see if that heart's still beating.
yeah. if you like look at the facilities on the outside, at least here in the great state of Mississippi, they look like crap. But you go inside, they actually look nice. I believe
Yeah.
they're at least being taken care of. But I mean, you hear so many stories about these people
Yeah.
that work there, just like beating the crap out of old people that are just trying to live out their twilight lives in peace.
Yeah.
And it's just a mess. But I just thought that was funny. I think truly Biden needs to step down and everything. And speaking of stepping down, there was another person who had to well, forcibly of his own volition at the same time. And I think you know who we're talking about is Mr. Or Dr. Disrespect.
Oh, doctor.
And
the two-time champ.
I mean, it's versus like the one guy that came out with it on Twitter that was basically saying like, hey, this is the reason why I got kicked off was because he got caught texting a minor and everything. And
Yeah.
everybody was just like, no, that's not true. That's not true. Like anytime,
Yeah.
and I understand like some people get falsely accused of some stuff and everything like that.
Yeah.
And even then the guy, I can't remember exactly who it was that broke the news to everybody, but they were just kind of like digging through his past tweets and like,
Yeah.
well, it seems like he has an agenda and everything, but like everybody was so quick, and it's just like everything. We pick one side or the other. But
yeah.
the people that were going on the side of supporting him were just like, we want to see the tweets. We want to see like exactly how old she was, like when exactly does she turn 18 and stuff like that. And it's just like, maybe wait until all the facts come out, because it was like a couple of days later. He's just like, yeah, I was texting someone who was underage and I knew about it. And now everybody was just like, well,
what kills me about his like reveal or admitting to it was it seems kind of half-assed.
yeah.
To an extent, like because at the top it was the one he posted on Twitter where it said that the Twitch ban. Let's talk about her, whatever it said after that. Let's talk about the Twitch ban, all right? And then he said something to the effect, I was messaging an individual minor.
Yeah.
And there was another statement he made at the beginning of it. It was like, was there any intentions behind these messages? And he said, absolutely not. And then he goes on to say, well, some of the conversations did go towards the direction of inappropriate. So what? Okay, well, you're leaving open speculation, and then you're going to make people question you in the first place. To me, you're an adult, right? And there's no gray area to it, and you can't make yourself out to be this martyr. Like, okay, I confess to it. Excuse me. I've confessed to it. Look at me. I'm a bigger person, so I'm admitting it, and just fall on your sword and then come back out on top, because you're an adult. You should have had more sense. And when things started getting inappropriate or seemed like they were going to get inappropriate, you should have had the more sensible mindset to be like, okay, we're not going to have this conversation at all whatsoever. Because I think he would have been in his 30s at that time if she was 17, is if that's what they're saying.
The timeline, he would have been in his late 30s.
Yeah.
And versus like him being, or her being at, well, I would figure at the time she was 17.
Well, people are saying she should be 24 around that age by now. But
so she's legal now, but it doesn't mean like, I mean,
it doesn't make it right. Like it's like there's no gray area to it. It's only black and white. You can't ride the fence on it. Is what I'm getting at. And the fact that I've been reading posts on Twitter, people, you don't need to speculate, before all the evidence is out. And then they pushed out an email saying the true intention, because this was back in 2017 when they discovered this.
So he's, and then they finally 42 now.
Yeah, he's in his 40s.
Do some quick math.
But
24 minus 2017.
You almost come off as like you're trying to defend somebody that's willing to do that, and that's not okay. And that kind of makes me it makes me wonder, like, what kind of skeletons you're hiding in your closet. But
yeah,
on the
But-
same side of the coin, we all have our secrets, you know,
Yeah.
and we're all imperfect people. And I'm not trying to justify Dr. Disrespect, but you know,
I think
we can't really pass judgment until all the information's out, like you were
Yeah.
saying, you know.
considering he did come forward and admit to it, that'd be
Exactly.
the only like saving grace to it. Like, we understand, like, you did something wrong. We don't
Yeah.
agree with it at all. It's
Yeah.
incredibly messed up. But to jump on this whole thing, like, even if there was like an inkling of it and everything like that, you should still not go and jump on just like, well, he didn't do it. Like, there's no way he could do it. I mean, then you have other stuff coming out, like you have the trans sex worker thing, where he was basically messaging her. I think it was around the same time in 2017. Like he was, he seemed like he was a habitual offender on multiple different things. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong.
Apparently, that's the sex worker he was having an affair with when he had an affair with his wife, apparently, in the same year, 2017.
Yeah.
So
he was kind of just going all over the place, and it was just, and I mean, there's the part where he's a pedophile, which is absolutely 100% wrong for doing.
Yeah.
Then there's the other thing where he's cheating on his wife with and messaging a trans sex worker. There's nothing wrong with him. I mean, look at it. It's fucking.
Hey, do you?
Yeah.
Do you? I mean, if that's how you feel, do you? You know.
I mean, at the same time, I'm not gonna say it's not like it doesn't look beautiful. Well, I shouldn't say it. She doesn't look horrible. I mean, she's just got that extra piece. But I mean, like, let me put it this way: if I go to Sonic and I order a whole thing of onion rings, I'm not kind of mad that I got a tater tot in the mix. You know what I'm saying? That's pretty good.
Oh
I mean, you could say that. You're going to eat that fucking tater tot.
It's like a Kinder Surprise egg.
Yeah. But, like, it's just, how much of a scumbag can you be? And, I mean, the only thing that was really good about this was the amount of, like, tweets and jokes and stuff. Like, you had, like, the 49ers dropped him.
Yeah.
And they were like,
his own company, Midnight Society, fired
Midnight Society got rid of him, but like you had them going like, hey, this is the 49ers, not the 40 miners. And somebody, I can't remember who it was. I wish I could give him credit for the tweet and everything, but remember how I was saying that like you should become like Dr. Respect and everything?
Yeah.
Somebody made that exact same joke.
Ricky Barwick guy, the disabled guy. He even did a spiel on where he's like, "It's not Ricky, it's Dr. Disabled."
I think this is the video here, and like I love Ricky Barwick. Every video he puts out is absolutely 100%.
He's
hysterical.
He's a savage.
Alex from Predator Hunters. We've been talking to a physician for a couple weeks online, and we've arranged to meet up with him here. Come on over here. We'll go find him.
Like, I think this was dropping like hours afterwards, so he was prepared.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Are you here to meet a miner?
Well, it's actually individual miner.
So a miner.
Yeah.
Hey, this is Alex.
He's so good in everything that he does.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, and then you had, who was it? Ninja was condemning him. Nick Merckx, Tim the Tat Man, and then we see Nick Merckx gets banned from Twitch because he used a derogatory term. I guess it's derogatory now. I mean, you can't really
towards the trans community.
Yeah. I mean, this is the thing I feel with language and everything. There are some words that you're never supposed to say, and some that were fine once upon a time, like everybody said them. Now, I mean, I'm not going to go into it. I'm not going to say them, first off, because, one, I could get in trouble immediately on our first podcast. But I mean, you have to police yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just got to think if you have what was his name in Jurassic Park? I know him as Newman from Seinfeld.
Yeah, I can't remember his name either, but he
Wayne
always did the
Knight.
Dotson. No
Yeah.
one gives a shit.
But you always got to like think of that whenever you're about to say something. And I mean, it's good. You should conduct yourself in a way where you're not going to slip up and say something that could potentially offend someone. But it's,
Yeah.
I think like every time that we make a video or something, there needs to be a list on the side.
Yeah.
Do not say these words. And as it keeps getting longer, I'll have to add more paper. But there's no telling what it is that, I mean, just don't be a dick. Don't say some shit that's going to get people mad.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I've never watched Nick Merckx. I've never watched Dr. Disrespect. I never liked
Neither am I.
Dr. Disrespect. I've seen Tim the Tap Man. I think he's funny.
Yeah, I've watched Tim the Tap Man before.
But at the same time, it seems like all these big YouTubers and all these big Twitch streamers and everything just act accordingly. Don't message kids. Don't cheat on your wife or spouse or anything like that.
Well,
and don't say shit that's going to offend people.
Well, the thing I think that people forget is when they get to a certain level is, you know, I'll call it stardom, because yeah, they're well known, but they're not. And this goes out to celebrities too. Like celebrities are people just like us.
Yeah.
And they're not perfect. And I'm not saying that to justify anything that they do, but we have to remember that we're putting our faith, our hope, and our trust in a mentor, especially our children, into a normal person.
That is the biggest part of that, is because you have these kids. Kids are impressionable. You think about all the
super impressionable
dumb shit that we used to do as kids. I mean, I remember seeing Spider-Man in theaters for the first time. You're telling me right after that you weren't going like fuck.
Oh well, fuck. The first time I saw the Terminator movie when I was a little kid, I was playing soccer and I just kept pretending I was a fucking indestructible Terminator and I was gonna dominate the fucking soccer field.
I could just imagine
fucking liquid metal. Fucking, I would run like that. They had the liquid metal.
You're running around like Robert Patrick, just about to like.
Hey, is your kid John Connor here?
Yeah.
Let me get a picture of him.
But I mean, and on the other thing, on like these YouTubers and everything, this guy, Boogie2988, like I used to like him. He used to have these videos where he pretended to like almost sound like Cartman and everything in a way.
What's so funny is I have this saved on my bookmarks too.
Oh, okay. Exactly. But it's like he had such a fall off and everything, and now like he's just. I mean, this doesn't look good for you.
No.
I mean, for the simple fact you're holding a smoky stick or whatever you call them.
Beef jerky or whatever.
Like as a
cigar.
cigar.
Some women in some revealing clothing.
Yeah.
Short clothing.
Keep you in the rat race and enslaved to certain disciplines. But I'm here to dispel.
It looks like he's trying to do a parody of like Andrew Tate.
Yeah.
And it's just not a good look. Like,
I mean, it's not playing off well.
No.
It's not playing off well.
And
go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just saying, like, if you're gonna be like in this kind of industry, I'm not saying we're industry leaders by any means, because we haven't uploaded a video since. And I think I know what it was that got us off track. It was Baldur's Gate.
Yeah.
It was Baldur's Gate.
I haven't finished that fucking game. I'm right there again. I hadn't finished it.
It was Game of the Year, and it like we were playing Resident Evil 0, and then we both got the game, and we're just like, well, this is all we're gonna do now.
Well, what made us get it was after the Game of Year awards. Everything was Baldur's Gate. Baldur's Gate.
Yeah. But if you're in this industry and everything, you have a responsibility once you get to a certain level.
Yeah.
And it's like
even just as an adult.
Yeah, I mean, as a functioning adult and everything. I mean, most of the stuff that like we joke about in private or something like that, like, but you got to think about like versus, okay, now you're going to put that on YouTube, much like we're doing
Yeah.
here, and we're going to
Yeah.
broadcast that to the entire world.
Yeah. Read the room.
Yeah. And I mean, we're maybe like 2 seconds away from saying something that could potentially end your career in seconds.
Derail us.
Yeah. I mean, it's,
Well, to go back to what I said earlier about Joe Biden, and I'll say this about Dr. Disrespect. Obviously, he's got an issue, you know, and he needs to seek help. And, you know, that's one of the things that I went out and did for myself, too, because through all this crap that I'm going through, you know, I went and started seeking mental therapy. I went and saw a therapist, you know, I've been seeing a psychiatrist, and you got to take care of yourself, not only physically, but mentally, you know, because if you're not there 100%, you know,
got to get a brain wrangler. That's
you're
what
gonna,
it is.
yeah, you're gonna fucking, and it's good to lean on family members and stuff like that, but there's only so much that somebody can do, and sometimes you just need outside help. You do. And it's done wonders for me. It's made me look at myself and take things from a different perspective on how I can approach things, especially. So I feel like it's working great, you know, between me and my family and work.
Yeah.
To an extent. I still it's not happening overnight though. That's the thing. It's not an overnight thing. You just got to stick with it, you know. You got to be resilient. And that's the main key thing is staying resilient. You want to be a rubber bouncy ball. You don't want to be fragile and break like an egg, you know. As soon as you hit the floor, you want to bounce right back.
Speaking
That's a military metaphor.
By the way, and it reminded me of like one of these videos, because like any parent that would have to do anything with someone touching their child or talking to their child and everything.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is the exact video. Yeah. This lady, Marianne Bachmeier, like, basically she had, let me read the synopsis of what this is, because I've seen this video hundreds of times. Oh, did it start playing? But, okay, so 1981, shot the murderer of her 7-year-old daughter, Klaus Grabowski. That is a terrible name for a person who touches your Grabowski. Who did it? It was Grabowski, Grabby man.
Man, see?
35-year-old butcher who had sexually assaulted 2 girls previously. You talk about like when someone touches your kids and everything, you would do anything to get that person and murder them. If there was any person who's done it in the most badass way, it's this lady.
Yeah.
Where like she literally walks into the courtroom
and just pow.
Trench coat, looking like a just movie gangster, pulls out the gun. This looks like a scene from like a mobster movie.
Yeah, it does.
And like everybody in there was just like, what the hell just happened?
I think I can't remember the father's name, but there was a father who did something similar like that too. I can't remember his name, but he was like at a payphone.
Yeah.
And then he turned around when they were moving him out of the courtroom, and he just turned around and just fucking smoked the dude.
Let me see if I can find. I know who you're talking about. What was his name?
But I know if I was in that position and someone was coming after my kids, I would do anything to protect them. And you can't really like hold that against a parent. That's their kid, you know. That's
you're talking about that guy right there.
Yeah.
That just he was smooth with it. He had a plan.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna pretend I'm talking on the phone. He's got his revolver just waiting.
I gotta take care of something. Click.
Yeah. Do you think he did like a one-liner before? He's just like, he's like, hold on, I'm gonna give him the old switcheroo.
Hold all my calls. Click.
Is this the video? Like,
bang, 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 bang.
I guess it's so old that it's not gonna play it, or but like, yeah, I mean, you think about it, you're gonna do that if you have the chance, and nobody's gonna stop you. Like she shot that dude 7 times, and just like writing.
Well, you also got to think about the mindset that they're in. I mean, if that's and the year, the time frame, what was that? 1981.
Yeah,
I
81.
mean, they didn't have the shit that we had, you know, and I'm not saying kids aren't important because of we've got all this, you know, like internet and shit, but like to a parent, that's a huge investment, you know, your kids.
And
And
that
you want
was
to see
like
them succeed.
probably a
And
neighbor or something like that. It's
yeah,
not like
and she probably felt like she had nothing else to lose, and that's why
Yeah.
she did it. Because if someone came after my daughter or my stepson, I would feel like I had nothing else to lose,
she got
and I would
6 years and then served 3 and released for good behavior. Like she,
yeah.
and I
We
know
just
we
got to check the box.
I know we've been scrolling past this, but this is another thing on Twitch. Like, this is Twitch, and it says military Q&A, Ellie the Empress. Now, I'm not saying that women should cover up anything like that and stuff, but the simple fact that this was probably on like the front page, you had over 1,000 people watching it.
Yeah.
Now, granted, 1,000 of those people are not all kids, but a good chunk of them could be kids, because I mean it's stuff that you can get onto. And also, if that was a recruiter that ended up saying like, "Hey, you want to join the military?" I probably would. So it's just,
but
they're trying to. You ever heard the term like psyop? Like whenever you like scrolling through TikTok, you see a girl that looks like she's pretty and everything. Like, oh yeah, I just want like a guy to hang out with and everything, and you see they're in the military. I'm like, I see what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
You're trying to get more bodies for the machine.
Here's how I feel about this though, because it's very disgraceful, especially every other country in the world right now thinks we're a laughing stock, and this is proof of it. Like you're supposed to be an image of professionalism, and this is not professional at all. Like I know other people that stream that are in the military. I'm not saying they're big streamers, but there's some that have more of a following than me, or they're veterans, and they do not conduct themselves in this way. Now, drinking on stream, you could say the same thing. Have I drank on stream? Absolutely, but I've always, and it's just me not trying, but I've done it for other reasons. Like I'm raising a fundraiser for a certain organization that helps veterans or something like that. Like, hey, you give me a sub, I'll take a shot, you know.
Yeah.
Or I'll be playing a scary game, and it was like, hey, I'm taking donations for this organization, like Wounded Warrior or whatever, and I'll take a shot. And it's, you know, it makes it fun, but at the same time, I don't want kids that do come into my stream thinking, oh, it's cool to drink alcohol. You know, you got to be careful. What I'm saying, that's what I'm getting at. You got to be careful what your digital footprint is, because the more stuff you put like that up there, and you're saying you're a representation of, you know, the United States Army, whether you're guard or active duty.
It's not part of AR 670-1.
Oh, absolutely. She destroyed that uniform. Like, it's unserviceable.
Yeah.
She's not going to be taking a PT test in that.
You're going to have to go down to the PX. You're going to have to get a new shirt, new pair of shorts, probably, and put the whole outfit back together.
With it being on Twitter, I just hope anybody in her chain of command doesn't find it or something, you know, whatever, whether she's active duty or guard. I mean, she may get a slap on the wrist, or she may get written up or counseled for it, but even if she really is, I don't know who the hell she is.
Yeah.
But,
and it couldn't, I mean, we have no idea. We're taking it at face value. It could not even be real. So.
Yeah.
We're just saying, like,
cosplaying as I'm a soldier, you know, kind of deal.
With as much shit as Twitch has been in for everything that they're doing, with Dr. Disrespect and everything like that, maybe you need to also kind of go and just, if it's overtly sexual or sexual in a nature, maybe kind of say like, hey, you shouldn't do this and stuff like that. Because I mean, we get strikes on stuff for YouTube videos like all the time.
Yeah.
It's just like they have such a baseline, like, this is all the stuff you can talk about and show, and this is where you kind of go into the realm of like, hey, you might get in trouble for this.
Yeah. Not to mention, to me, it would be terrifying. It was terrifying like 10 years ago, because we still had the internet, you know. We had, like, I think Vine was out. Now you got TikTok, and everybody's out. It seems like everybody's out to get each other on TikTok. Like, if you do something that comes off as, oh, he's a piece of shit or she's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Like, you got to be careful what you put on the internet or what you say or what you do, because people are petty.
Well, it was
People
like
are fucking petty.
back in the day, you had like AOL chat rooms and everything, and
Oh,
the
yeah.
biggest. I mean, you see how
People will
that
dig up
spun off.
anything.
Like
Yeah.
that went off into To Catch a Predator and stuff like that. You still have that stuff going on today, and it's just like,
Absolutely.
no matter how much you can tell a child, don't talk to people on the internet, don't give them your house number and everything. There are going to be some that do it because, I mean, kids do not know better. They're dumb,
I know.
and they haven't been in those positions. And it's just
Which just-
insane.
Goes back to the point that if you're an adult and you're talking to a kid, you just need to end it.
Yeah. If you figure it out, like, say, like, hey, what's your age? If they come like 17,
Yeah.
right there, just
Yeah.
block.
Now, granted, I don't mean like mentors, like in schools and stuff, and in the programs. There's programs that are great for kids, like the Big Brother program and stuff.
Yeah. But if it's a random stranger, like if Dr. Disrespect messages you on Twitter, don't be talking with him and like be like, so what are you gonna do? TwitchCon.
And I think today's generation, or the generation after us that are adults now, they just don't educate their kids well enough.
No.
I'm not saying that by any means, like they're bad parents or whatever, but they need to educate. They need to educate their kids.
I mean, growing up, you think about it, we had the internet, and parents didn't know everything. I mean, you could like tell parents like, hey, I'm streaming on Twitch, like when it first came out, when you were putting a game on, they would have no idea what the hell that is. Like, and even still, parents don't understand. There are probably people who have absolutely no idea who Dr. Disrespect even is.
Yeah.
And they would just be like, hey, there's this famous streamer that said he wanted to stick his fingers in my butt.
Yeah.
And they just be like, what does this have to do with a river?
Oh, it's like it's a challenge. It's no cap.
Yeah, like the slang terms, like it's just, that's the one thing I feel like I'm aging too quickly and everything.
Yeah.
Is when you start hearing teenagers use certain slang and you're just like, I understand how my parents felt, and then I just get real sad. Like, just no cap. What?
Yeah.
There's no cap
you start
on the
realizing. That's the other thing. You start realizing, like, mentally, like sometimes I feel like I get those moods where I feel like a little kid, like I'm having fun, but then you come across certain things like, no, that looks. I'm too old for that. You know? I should not be. I should not be watching Barney the dinosaur on my own.
No.
But if I have a child that's like 4 or 5 and they discover Barney, well, obviously I'm going to sit there and watch it with them because I'm there. That's my kid. I got to make sure.
Yeah. But let's move on to some lighter stuff. I know we got some video games
that dead horse
that are coming out. Yeah, we kind of got a lot of talking, but it was mainly serious. We're not serious people by any means. We just like to have fun. But
it's the only time you'll see the serious side of us.
Yeah. Now for the 48-minute mark on the serious hour, the last bit will lighten it up. Of course, I know you love Alien. I love Alien. Everybody loves Alien.
Oh, fuck yeah.
And we're not getting Alien Isolation 2, but there is a new game coming out called Alien Incursion. It's a VR game, and
see, I don't have a VR headset, but I would love that, and that would be absolutely terrifying.
Oh yeah, like absolutely. I mean, it's gonna be on MetaQuest 3 and all that. Ooh. Hey, by the way, like 2 of the movies that had like the best intro for like introducing the like name of it is Alien, with that slow like letter fade in, and then
that's what I'm getting from this. Yeah,
The Thing, like when they did that the reveal for the title and everything.
Well, there's a huge difference in the movies. Like Ridley Scott only did like 3 of the fucking movies. He did Prometheus, Alien, and Alien Covenant.
Yeah. Holiday 2024. So that's coming out this year.
Hell yeah.
So
What, holiday? So that might be Christmas?
Christmas, Thanksgiving, whenever.
Well, since you got a
There we go.
VR headset, we got to do a video on that so I can sit there and watch.
Yeah. I got to set that up. That'll be fun. The other thing, we're speaking about new games coming out. There was another one for, it was an old
Oh my god.
game, The Thing.
This is the best thing John Carpenter, this movie. I know this is a game, but the movie itself, the
Yeah.
original. Fuck, the practical effects, everything.
I think it rips through your clothes when it takes you over.
Like,
Windows found some shredded long johns, but the name.
I remember I played a little of it on an emulator where they were,
I have
like,
to.
you had to keep the, like, trust level of your friends and everything.
Yeah.
And I would
Super
think,
hard.
like yeah, that effect right there, just for the, like, I
Yeah.
read about how they did it with, like, an aquarium, a light, and a trash bag. Like,
Yeah.
just set it on fire. That was, like, ingenious to do it that way.
Yeah. I know the graphics aren't super up to date, but this already looks like better than what the PS2 version was.
Yeah.
I mean, that just.
What's that?
I mean,
I
an
mean,
invasive, parasitic, bacterial type alien that just reforms.
copies your
just-
friends, and
Yeah.
you don't know who to trust. It would. Okay, so it's coming to GOG. I
Well, it's
know
coming
if
to Steam too. I got it on my wish list.
Oh yeah. Okay. Windows PC, Steam, PlayStation 4, Xbox Series 1, and all that stuff. Nintendo Switch, really. Oh, I guess the Switch could handle it. But like the thing, like I never played the game. I never had like a reference of what it's gonna be like unless I played it all the way
Yeah.
through on the emulator. But like, that's the one thing I like about remasters is for the simple fact you can introduce a new generation of people and stuff to an IP like The Thing. They would play the game and be like, "Man, this is awesome!" Like, but I've never seen the movie, so like, let me see what the movie is like.
Oh yeah.
They'd watch that. They'd watch the prequel that was made and everything, and it gets new
Which-
people interested in a film that they
Yeah.
might not know about or anything like that.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it was like midway through like high school was the first time I watched The Thing, and like years later I remember like looking into it. It was like a remake of, or I guess like I don't know what you would call it. It was all old Howard Hawks film.
Yeah.
What was it? And it was based on a book. Like it turned into this whole thing where it changed so many different times throughout history. Where like the old one looked like a Frankenstein plant monster, and then you had one that was like, okay, now I'm just gonna like copy bodies and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna be looking for that. And then the other thing, like I know you liked Starfield and everything. I know we're
It was. I don't hate it. It's a good game. It's a good solid game, and the updates that they came out with, pretty
Yeah.
good, and added a little bit more. And they're coming out with something else soon. I can't remember what the date is, but it's not a terrible game.
Yeah. but
It was just hard to keep playing.
I thought it was cool to see that, like, and this is what I love about modders and everything is like you give them a
Yeah.
game, they can turn it into something that's completely different. That's not even associated with the game that they're playing.
Yeah.
Like this is just basically a Star Wars mod. I don't know why you would. I mean,
Mid-size ATST.
yeah, just chilling. I don't know why it's making a dinging noise when it's shooting his armor.
I guess the Vescar.
Yeah.
It's supposed to deflect.
Oh, okay. So that's when they're shooting them. That
Yeah.
looks. That is
And the other one was
amazing.
another Mandalorian
Yeah. But
he was shooting. So
definitely looking into that. That could be cool to see. I mean, I I
Oh,
like
yeah.
the Star Wars games. I think they've been doing well. Some of the modders that have been putting out different games and everything
Yeah.
just completely change everything. Like we were playing, what was it, Squad, and they
Yeah.
got that Galactic Contention
Yeah.
server that
Yeah.
basically turns
That's
it into Star Wars Battlefront.
a better Star Wars Battlefront, if
Yeah.
I might add. That's what's crazy.
It always amazes me what modders can do. You never know what they're gonna do next. There was another one. This is one thing I want to touch on too, is the fact that like Heinz is coming out with like every sauce,
That's disgusting.
and it's got a list of what it is. They're basically combining everything into one single sauce, and it
Not
sounds
getting it.
terrible.
I'm not getting it. It's got ketchup in it. I'm not getting it.
It's got burger sauce, garlic sauce, aioli sauce, smoky baconaise, sweet chili, chip sauce, saucy sauce, mayuracha. Okay, sriracha and mayo. Mayo
Yeah.
must is mayonnaise and mustard. Truffle mayo, garlic and caramelized onion mayo, curry ketchup, pickle ketchup, and smoky bacon ketchup. I think if you
I'm sorry.
put this on anything, you should be prepared to stay at home for the rest of the day, because
Yeah.
it seems like that's, I mean, it's not going
People are
to turn out well for you.
people are gonna ridicule me about the comment I made about ketchup, but the only thing ketchup belongs on is French fries, and
Yeah.
I hardly ever eat ketchup on French fries either. So
A goddamn ketchup hater.
I had a supervisor tell me mustard was for ugly people. So I guess it tracks.
But yeah, that's just, I don't see that playing out well. But it was just a side note. The other thing, did you ever play you played Dead Rising, right? Like the first one?
Yeah, a long time ago. Yeah.
So they're coming out with a deluxe remaster, because I mean, released back on the 360 in the day, and
That's when I played it. Yeah, it was on the 360.
I haven't watched the trailer yet, so it'll be a first look for us. I know that they've updated the graphics, everything like that. That was 2006. HD remaster in 2016, which was 10 years ago, or 10 years after that.
It looks just like the original. Not graphically, but the way it's starting.
Yeah.
Remember that name, because the whole world's gonna know it in 3 days.
So, Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster, RDDR.
DR.
Dance Dance Revolution. But I think like a lot of people were mad because they, for one, didn't get the original voice actor. And they changed his face up a little. Which I mean,
yeah, that could upset people. Yeah.
it's understandable. I mean you're not gonna hit
Yeah,
all
but-
the bases on a remake. I
They-
mean,
they might be trying. I mean, they might not have been able to afford the original guy, and two, it could be just like, hey, we got to reach a new audience. So who knows?
I had to
Who
stop on
fucking
this
knows?
because WWE 2K24 featuring Post Malone in a wrestling game. Let me go ahead and cut that off. Oh, it's got Fred Durst in the song. Post Malone. Wow. Okay. I don't want to get a copyright strike, so that's why we're not playing.
Is
music.
is Post Malone that ripped?
I don't know. I saw him in that
I hate on
movie.
Post Malone, but
Don't you talk shit about Post Malone? Take it back. That guy, Felonious Falafel on TikTok.
yeah,
He was talking about one of the videos, but like that was weird. You got Post Malone in a wrestling game. I mean, it's
Yeah.
not the weirdest thing that happened. They had Fred Durst in it like years ago. Yeah. And then
everybody knows.
you got Delta Force Hawk Ops, which is the game I told you about, where it was
Rally up.
like
Yeah,
this
I've
was
never
like
heard of this game until you mentioned it.
yeah, this was Call of Duty before Call of Duty Modern Warfare came out.
Oh, I never heard of it. This Call of Duty came out, which I hate, but now
Yeah,
I hate Call of Duty.
really gone down the shitter.
Like
Well,
a
like
toilet bowl of a game.
the only difference is like you had Black Hawk Down, the original, which was about the helicopter going down in Mogadishu or whatever it is. Now they've like added I guess a new mode where it's kind of futuristic.
Yeah.
They got abilities and stuff like that, so. I mean, I'm not too crazy about the futuristic mode, but I did see where they were gonna have the original game
Yeah.
as remastered, and I mean, that was extremely fun.
Pow, 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 pow.
Smoke
Pull
grenade.
a gun.
Motorized exoskeleton. Could you imagine some dude running over as like fast as the Flash in the middle of a gunfight?
In reality, his legs would be ripped off his torso. He'd just be like, ah!
It looks like a defense mode. While people are trying to get the little package that you're.
Is this PvP or PvE?
I haven't looked too much into it. I know I signed up for the alpha for it. This looks like it could be like a PvE mode.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't seem like the enemies that you're facing off against have the same abilities.
Yeah. I mean, I'd be down for that.
Oh, yeah.
I love PvP stuff because I suck at PvE.
So it says next big military FPS. This was like the...
Another COD killer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because what was that one Ubisoft made?
What was that one Ubisoft made? I can't remember what it's called.
X-Defiant. It just came out, and we could not remember it.
The killer
Jesus.
of COD. X-Defiant.
But
speaking of Ubisoft, Star Wars Outlaws, man, I'm still kind of skeptical. I almost pre-ordered it, and instead I went with Space Marines 2.
yeah.
Because like we've talked about before in the past, you know, they like to show one thing and it end up looking like another. You know, it's not as smooth and good looking as they would like to put it out.
I mean, like you think about like all the Ubisoft games that have come out,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, Star Wars is a very hot IP. Like everybody wants to do Star Wars,
minus TV shows.
Yeah, TV shows kind of hit or miss.
Well, they're still getting press. You know, bad press is still good press in people's eyes. So,
with a franchise that's as like lore rich, you think it would do a little bit better. Like you don't have to try hard to make a Star Wars thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, it seems like they kind of don't put forth the effort that they need to.
Well, I know from the cutscenes, the main character, which is that woman,
yeah,
she was modeled after like a supermodel. A lot of people are complaining about this. Was the fact that I think she looks better in the cutscenes than she does in actual gameplay.
Yeah,
because they've showed the actual gameplay trailers too, and I don't know, her face just doesn't look right. Ubisoft's been making games for a long time, but
what is that little creature supposed to be?
I have no idea. Her companion, I guess. I have no.
Yeah. I mean, the concept sounds awesome.
Yeah, she's supposed to be a smuggler. But if this thing is true, where you can like take off from a planet and seamlessly go in real time from the planet's orbit into space, I can see a lot of people that being mad at Bethesda for Starfield, because that's one thing they complained about.
Loading screens. I got a Rancor.
Because even in Elite Dangerous, you can fly in real time.
Oh yeah,
and go through the orbit. You know, it's not like it can't be done.
I just don't want to put forth the effort for it.
Yeah. Yeah,
I mean, like, you look at this trailer for it, you're thinking this is gonna be
awesome.
badass. Like I'm gonna be blowing up friggin' TIE fighters and my like space convoy truck and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm just gonna wait for a little bit before I get it.
Yeah.
But I'm excited for Space Marines too.
Space Marines too. I mean, you can't go wrong with a Warhammer game.
No, I'm still playing the mess out of Darktide.
Yeah. Probably gonna hop on that later tonight. But like they have the PvE mode that they were talking about.
Yeah, it's 6v6. It reminds me so much of old Gears of War.
Yeah.
Because you know they got the chain swords and all that. Oh my god, dude.
Like I could be honest, like I love Warhammer and everything. I still don't know what it's supposed to be about.
I don't know anything about the lore that much. I've never played the tabletop, but the video games are. I'm just a video game kind of guy.
Yeah.
You know? And you put something like this that makes you feel like a badass. I'm gonna. Like you're supposed to be this super soldier in a fucking suit.
Yeah.
Like, come on now.
Like crazy. It's like a mixture of like Catholicism, alien fighting, Roman era type shit.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I think this is 4 or 3 player co-op on the main story too.
Yeah. You got all different classes and everything.
Everything's customizable too. Like each person's Marine can look fucking different.
Yeah, this is the thing that I want to look into because, like, I guess you and this is the thing. Like, this is just what they're showing off.
Yeah.
As like the starting set. Like, if they do kind of like what Helldivers 2 is doing, and let you keep upgrade. If they do the same kind of like you play the game, get the credits, and unlock stuff, I'll be all for it. But like, you could just customize. Like, that looks badass. Like, he looks like he's about to just wade through like a whole sea of Xenos and just take them all out.
Yeah, and not to mention it gets the players hyped because you know one person could play and complete this like objective, you know, on the side mission or whatever, and they'll be like, "How did you get that? How did you get that look? You know, that whatever."
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, I did this," and then it just keeps people playing, you know, just over and over again.
It's just a giant dragon.
I guess.
There's no like. Okay, so that's coming out soon.
Yeah, September 9th.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I'm
we're
stoked. I got it pre-ordered.
So we got about 3 months or something. Oh wait, what is that? 4-day early unlock for
if you get
bonus.
the gold edition, if you get the higher editions, you get to play 4 days early. But I didn't get the gold edition,
then
so I'm gonna have to play it on the 9th.
Craggy's Chosen DLC. Of the Emperor. Okay, so that's the Ultra Edition. So you get the Season Pass, Ultramarines Champion Pack, and then all the other stuff.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, super hyped for that. That's gonna be cool.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I think we ought to cut it there. Like, we went about a good hour or so for our first podcast. I mean, it was.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It was decent. If you guys have made it this far, thank you guys for watching. I know we kind of rambled on a lot, but this is our first time doing it. We're gonna slowly add more, kind of figure this stuff out. You know, first episode, have no idea what we're gonna do. It's just play it by ear. We try to keep it a little bit free form. Keep it fun, keep it light and everything. We went a bit heavy this episode, but I mean, that's life, man. We just we're trying to figure it out as we go along. But anyway, thanks for checking us out. I'm Monk the Mechanic.
I'm Screwed Six Ways.
Screwed Six Ways. We're gonna try at some point, maybe when things calm down a little bit better, play some more games and everything. Make some more videos, stuff like that. If we can break away from our hectic lives and stuff like that. I mean, it's how it is. I mean, you can't do it every single day and not expect to do well in balancing personal life and extracurricular activities.
I think the person who said it best was Jeff Goldblum, you know, from Jurassic Park. Life finds a way.
Anyway, guys, that's been the first episode of Super Battle Buddies podcast. So thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, keep your integrity in check.